what we're going to do now is talk about this right-hand pane called the Artwork and Effects. Now, Artwork and Effects is like a one-stop shop for all of your artwork and effects inside of Elements. Now, this is new for Photoshop 5 and above. So if you have an older version of Photoshop, I do not believe that you have the Artworks and Effect palette over on this right-hand side. However, if you do have 5, 6, or 7 and it is not showing, to get it to show, you go up to Windows and look for Artwork and Effects and make sure that the Artworks and Effects is checked, and that will automatically populate the Artwork and Effects palette over here. Now, what I'm going to do is give you a real quick tour of what these different icons are, and then I'm going to show you a real-life demo here. So let's go ahead and get started. Then we have these 5 different icons up here, you'll notice. This first one is the Artwork palette, and this is where you find things like your graphics and your backgrounds and your frames, all of these different shapes and let's pick backgrounds. And you can see, especially if you're going to build a photo album, you're probably going to want to have a theme background. If you notice over here on the very right-hand side, there is a drop-down menu where we can change these or select them. And there's one that will allow you to go from to select all. So here's what I'm trying to talk about. This drop-down menu is it allows you to pick different themes. And you can see as we go through here, we've got different themes. Or if we're not sure what we want, we can select all. So that is the Artwork and icon. The next one we have is the Themes icon. And the Themes icon is it allows us to change albums. And when we create our creations, our slideshows and our slideshows and our albums and things like that, we can have themes, and there are some preset themes and textures already set up, including a DVD jacket if you're going to make a DVD or a CD. Here we've got album pages and photo layout and scrapbook. So there are lots of different themes that we can choose from when we're selecting our creations. Now, the next one icon is the Effects and Filters. Now, there are filters which are allow you to change the actual photos. You can turn them into what look like watercolors or different kinds of textures that you can use, and there are lots of different brush strokes and noise and pixelate types of filters that you can put over your photos. The next thing we have is photo effects and layer styles. Now, layer styles is one that is probably going to be one that you use fairly frequently. I know I always come into this layer styles, especially as I create text messages and things like that for my eBay store. So this is the layer styles, and this is a drop-down box. We can see we've got some bevels that we can change the photos or the buttons. We've also got glass buttons and photographic effects and wow chrome and neon plastic. These are all meant to kind of spice up and spruce up web pages and web designs. So just keep that in mind. These different layer styles are ways that you can spruce up your different creations. Next we have text, and Danny showed you a little bit about text, and I'm going to show you a little bit more here. But this allows you to add some effects to your text after you've typed it out. Give it a little bit more dimension or spruce it up a little bit more and make it stand out. So that's what the stands for. And then finally we've got a little star here which indicates that it's a favorite. you'll find as you go through these different artworks and effects that you probably have favorites that you use over and over again. And instead of having to go through all these different palettes to try to remember where it is, you can simply star it as a favorite and then come right back to it. Let me show you what I mean here. I've got my layer styles. And I use a certain kind of drop shadow fairly frequently. I always seem to gravitate towards this low drop shadow. So I might want to make that a favorite instead of having to toggle through here. So to do that, I would just simply click on my right mouse and add to the favorites. Now, once I've added to my favorites, it'll show up here. And now all I have to do is click the star anytime I want to use that, that drop shadow. So that's a real quick tour of an effect. So let's go ahead and kind of show you some of the different things that we can do with the different artworks and effects. So I've got this album page set up here of a trip to Monai City, and I want to create or spruce up this page a little bit. So let's start with adding some text to this page. So I just clicked on the text tool, and I'm going to probably want to put it right here. Now, we've already selected the type of text that we want, the size, and what have you. And so all I have to do is start typing in now. And you can see, as I'm typing in white, because my color here, my foreground color, has been selected as white. And exactly look like it's going to work for us on the elements. So I can either double-click on this icon right up here, or I can do the quick select here and choose a color. So I'm going to click blue. And now when I come back, I've got this blue color. And I can continue on. Oops. Start a new layer, excuse me. I'm going to go back to this layer and continue on. And we'll show you more about layers as we get going. I was going to do city, excuse me. So now I've got Monai City, and you can see it's sort of going over that photograph, and it might not be exactly where I want to place it. So what I can do is, once I've got this typed in, I can choose to move this text around a little bit. So I'm going to go up here to the Move tool and click on the Move tool. And when I click on it, you'll see kind of a light gray box there. And as I hover over this, I've got a circle, which means that if I grab that with my mouse, I can change the angle of it. So maybe I want to change the angle so that it's just slightly angled. And when I'm happy with it, I just go over here and click on the Commit to the operation by clicking on the check mark. Now, it's still a little bit high for my taste, so what I can also do is just see when it changes to a little X there, I can grab my mouse and pull it down. So now it's outside of the picture. So this is great. Maybe I want to spruce up this text a little bit. So I can go over to Text, and I can choose one of these bevels or the emboss. Let's try emboss. So when I click emboss, nothing happens. What I have to do is either double-click really fast, or I need to click on apply. One way or the other, once I do that, the tool will take effect. And now I've got this kind of neat embossed little looking text. Now let's say I didn't particularly like this album that I chose. It's just not quite what I want now that I think about it. What I can do is go over to my albums, and pick the scrapbook theme that I want, and maybe choose another one. So I can either double-click. I click once, and I can click apply. I can double-click, or I can just click on it, you hold down and drag over, and it will say, are you sure you want to do that? And if I do, it will just go ahead and change the back for me. Just give me a second. It's thinking about it. And there we go. Now I've got a different background for that creation. Now let's say, that's a great background, but I'm not especially happy about the way these particular frames look now around the individual photos. So what I can do is go ahead and come to one of my layers. Let's say my layer over here, and select the layer, and I go to my frames, and I want to go to backgrounds and select frames, and maybe I want to put let's just pick a white frame around that and apply. And now it didn't quite apply a different frame. Probably don't like that as well as this frame here, so if I don't like it, I can just go back and click Undo. And if I want to try a different one, I can pick another one and apply. Oops, I created a new layer, excuse me, and have it selected. Again, this is important to have your layer selected by highlighting it. And we'll talk more about layers as we go along. Click and apply. And now that has changed that layer, that particular picture, to a different frame around it. So if I like that, that's great. One final thing I want to show you is maybe we want to add a few graphics to this creation. So I can click the artwork graphics, and now you see that it's showing me the animals. Well, Mono City, I probably think if I want to apply this deer, I can just click on deer. Yeah, it probably works. Puts it right in the middle. Maybe not the best place for that there deer. So I can bring the deer over and place it where I want. I can grab the handles and make it bigger or smaller if I choose. And the other thing I can do is, while I still have that layer selected, Danny was talking a little bit about opacity earlier. We can also choose the opacity of the objects on the layers. And as I drop it down, you see how the deer is getting a little bit more transparent. Now it's kind of blending into that background. Let's add one more little item to our creation, maybe a mailbox. So again, I can click once and click Apply, or I can double click and it'll put that mailbox right in. And of course, it sort of defaults right to the middle of the picture again, and that's not where I want it, so I can just click on it and grab it and bring it down, let's say, right about there. Now I can change the size again, or the orientation by, just grabbing one of these corners and moving it sideways, maybe sideways that way. It looks a little bit more interesting. And then when I'm happy, just click on the check mark. Now you can see that I'm going to pull in here a little bit. You can see that this, it's just sort of there. It's not really very realistic. It's just there because it's a graphic. Maybe if and the gray there is sort of blending into the background. So maybe if I wanted to make it stand out a little bit more, I could add a drop shadow to that. And remember, I did put my little drop shadows into my favorite, so I can just click on my favorite, click on the favorite that I want, and click on Apply or double click, either one. And now you can see I've got a slightly drop shadow there, and it brings that out and you add some dimension to that little graphic. So that is a real quick tour of the artworks and effects and what you might use some of these different artworks and effects for.